Constitutional Court judges have reserved judgment in the case dealing with the social grants crisis. The South African Post Office submitted an affidavit to the court. It was part of the Post Office's application to be admitted as a friend of the court in the Social Development Agency and CPS matter with Black Sash. Post Office CEO Mark Barnes stated that the parastatal could deliver social grants, protect beneficiaries' information and support government's ambitions for radical socio-economic transformation. Mark Barnes joins me in the studio now. Thanks so much for joining us in SABC News. Can you talk us through the discussions that you've had with Minister Batabile Dlamini that led us up to this point?
We haven't had direct discussions with the Minister. I think we've just submitted, almost as a service offering, the Post Office's capabilities. So I think, our approach is founded on a couple of things. First of all, we're a state-owned organ, and we believe that a state function should be performed by state organs if that's possible. And so, working together with SASSA, we're suggesting that we use the infrastructure of the Post Office, and we use the incumbent other providers for the 10,000 point distribution that are in place at the moment, towards a transitional situation where over time, and over a short period of time, the function for paying social grants is contained within government, and the Post Office can play a big role in that, we believe.
Help me understand this issue that you're speaking about now. You said you can help in an emergency situation now as the Post Office alone, and later on bring in CPS and people like that that you've just spoken about.
No, I'm not suggesting we bring in CPS. I'm suggesting that there are various service providers to this whole thing. So we submitted something on the 1st of March which said, if you're in a pickle, so to speak, we can solve this with electronic vouchers which you can send to people, which can be the basis of old-fashioned payment, if you like. Where you pitch up with your ID book and we'll pay against that. We've also said, though, that we can work with the various other subcontracted suppliers at the moment. So the cash that gets transported to the very rural pay points is done so by a cash and transit provider, not by CPS. Okay? And we would work easily with them, and the Post Office to replicate that situation. All that needs is, a cash dispensing machine, which is really old technology. And the biometrics that are available there over a period of time can be replaced by simply, when you arrive today to enter your biometrics on the existing system, you can, then enter it on a new system at the same time. And you can have a very orderly transfer of this function into a state function. And our argument for that is based on many things. One of them is that the economics of this contract stay within the fiscus. Okay, so if you're paying the Post Office to do this, you're essentially paying yourself as government in just another arm to do it for SASSA. Okay, so we would work under their instruction and together with them in a collaborative way to find an intergovernmental solution, which also has the benefit, and in particular as it relates to the Post Office in terms of a Supreme Court ruling in 2011, that we don't have to go through a long and laborious tender process and all of those good things, because this is a solution by government for government.
Okay. You've said that there is a capability. Chief Justice Mogoeng yesterday said that perhaps you were being overly ambitious. There is a sense of panic about the grants being paid on the 1st of April, and there's also a sense that the Post Office sometimes does not deliver. We've heard that the Post Bank, on the other hand, does 20 million transactions worth 2.7 billion rand. So if I'm watching at home and I can see these different factors in play, why should we trust the Post Office to then say they can do these deliveries?
Okay, well, first of all, we need to separate out the difference between delivering a parcel, which is a very physical action, okay, and delivering a sum of money, which for most of its life is happening in a system. It's only at that very last second that the money turns into something physical, and sometimes it never turns into something physical. So you'd primarily be looking at the capacity of the bank rather than a Post Office per se. Okay. The bank is a well-established bank. It's highly profitable. It's got excess capital. It's got 7.5 billion on deposit. It's got depositors' money of about 4.9 billion. There are 5.6 million depositors there. It would not be difficult for us in a period of 5 to 7 weeks to open 12 million accounts in the Post Office. Okay, it would not be difficult over a period of a couple of months for us to replace all of the cards that are out there. 65% of social grants are paid through the card system, not on the biometrics in the remote areas. Only 35% are paid out there. And so those things are available. So I think we must draw a distinction between the systems capability of the post bank and the delivery capability, if you will, that is now being repaired in the post office per se. So, but we're not even asking you to trust us. Okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we have a limited transition period? And then why don't we incrementally, as the post office, go and prove what we can do? And if we can do it, let's start in Mpumalanga and have the Auditor General certify that we're capable to do it. Then why don't we move to KZN and so on? Why don't we have a orderly transfer into a government function?
What would the terms be? We're hearing that you're asking for 20 Rand per beneficiary, and the councils of the court were pushing for the current 1644 to stay in place. So what would your terms be?
You know, first of all, make a big point about that. In a sense, it doesn't matter what we charge because it's all in the same box. Okay, so you can pay the money into Post Bank or you can pay the money into Treasury. We're part of the fiscus. Okay, so this is not money out of the system. Okay, Post Box is owned by the government. So if the Post Office makes a profit, the government makes a profit. It's the money of the people. Okay, first point. Second point, the 20 Rand that we illustratively put down there is in accordance with the new system as spec'd by the RFI, okay, which we submitted to. Okay, and thirdly, there was a long debate in the Constitutional Court yesterday, as you may recall, about what the new price is going to be, and I don't think that was ever clearly, illustrated to the court. Okay, but the biggest point is this: if we're paying a member of government, an organ of state, to perform a state function, that money is retained in the fiscus. Whereas if you pay an outsider, that money is an expense to the fiscus.
So it seems as though, in theory, you have all things in place to do what you believe is deliver the grants properly. Why is it not happening? Why is the Post Office not being asked to do this?
Well, I think, first of all, this crisis has only come about very recently. Okay. And so, I think if you go back to, I think it was 2007, the Post Office was paying social grants. And if you look to the ICT policy that has been approved by Cabinet, the Post Office is actually mandated to pay social grants. So, why hasn't this happened now? I guess there's been another functional contract in place. And so, I want to make this clear, we're just standing up to say, can we help? Okay, we're a member of state, we're an organ of state, we're owned by the state, we're owned by the people of South Africa. Can we help? If we can, please give us a call.
Thank you very much, Mark Barnes, the CEO of the Post Office, speaking to us there about the issues around the SASSA and the payment of grants.